Hey there, with the recent announcement of Vanilla WoW servers being released again, I wanted to make a little guide on how you can look a little bit more like a vanilla Fury Warrior in Legion. I've never been a fan of these big clunky weapons, like this is the ones I'm using right now, only because they're a really rare drop off of bosses in Throne of Thunder. It's like the Pandaren version of Ashbringer. Kind of funky looking sword, but you know, in vanilla the iconic swords were your chromatically tempered sword, which is actually quite big for a one-handed weapon, and other one-handed weapons that I'm sure you remember as being very iconic. Anyways, we're going to go over two-handed weapons that look very similar to one-handed weapons, so that you can have that one-handed look instead of these giant weapons. So I'm just going to go over a couple. I mean, you can look through all the weapons that you want that's going to fit your transmog or your idea of what looks good. These ones I used for a little bit. Uro, Harbinger of Terror. It's kind of cool because they move around. Fairly small weapon, if that's what you're looking for. Use this for a little while. I like the closed-in handle. Fairly small, yet hefty, if that's what you're into. Got like, you can have small ones like this. The Mushan Chopper. Even Hellrender is kind of small in a way. Got stuff like that. Ancestral Shadow Moon Great Axe. That's a two-handed weapon. Does not look like one. Even Shadow's Edge is quite small. Frass Sabi Cigar Cutter. If that fits your look, or you can have a tombstone attached to a piece of wood. That works too. That's not too big. Already kind of looked like one of those. There's that. Great Axe of the Hinterlands. White Fin Axe. These are all two-handed weapons. That looks like a one-handed weapon, but can look very good on a Fury Warrior. That's pretty big. Let's see, what else do we have? This I used for a while. It's a funky pink weapon. Looks like a one-handed. Let's see if we have any other really... Oh, here's one. Little shark face kind of thing on the axe. The Dwarven Charge. There's lots of small two-handed weapons. Steelforged Great Axe if you just want a simple look. Or maybe you want Tager's Sword on a Stick. Maybe that fits your transmog. A sword on a stick. I don't need to go through all of these, but I think you get the idea that there are a lot of interesting weapons. Let's see, what else can we find? That's massive. We don't want that, even though it looks cool. Actually, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll use it for a bit. Let's find some nice small... Oh, look at this. Yes, I was looking at this earlier. This is a two-handed weapon, but it looks like a one-handed weapon. So that might suit your needs. And for the last couple of axes that I'll show you, thought that was looking kind of unique. Not too many people would be using that. And call that good for axes. Now let's go over swords. A lot of swords are really big. Like, look at this one. That's huge. But there are also swords that are like this. Not too big. Here's these ones. Sword of Lone Victor. Satay's Stabbing Sword. Keldalar, Ferocity of the Scorned. That's not too big. Let's see, there's a couple other good ones I wanted to show you. That one's not too big. Even the Whirlwind Axe. This is smaller than the Chromatically Tempered Sword, CTS. That's a nice option for a classic weapon. Ruthless Gladiator's Greatsword. Pretty small looking for a two-handed weapon. That's kind of medium sized. Oh, here. These ones I thought looked really, really cool. This is the two-handed weapon. A lot of different colors. Pretty cool. Sword of Justice. This one is getting on the large-ish side, but when you compare it to something like Chromatically Tempered Sword, it's not that big. I thought this one was really neat. Again, I like that close-in handle. Cool color, and look at this. This view. Get all these spikes on the side. It almost looks like a submarine. No, not that one. That one's big. Troll Butcherer. That's a little bit too hefty for my likings. This is a very elegant looking sword, Great Sword of the Crown. Compared to something like that, that's a massive weapon. Here's a lightsaber. That's a two-handed weapon. Bone Reaver's Edge. Famous sword off of Ragnaros. You know, compared to Ash Candy. Too big. Doombringer. There you go. That looks like a one-handed sword, but it's a two-handed sword. So there are a lot of options. Blade of the Titans. If you want a nice orange-looking sword. Sindori Warblade. Anything by elves is going to be small. So that's a small-looking two-handed weapon. This one here, Relentless Gladiator's Greatsword. It's got a interesting item model to it, and looks like a one-handed weapon. That's a bit too big. Oh, this one. This is one I wanted to show. Morning Malice from Halls of Reflection. That is a cool-looking two-handed spatula. That's too big. That is massive. Holy crap. That's too big for a dwarf. And the Tranquilizer. This is a sword I used for quite a while. It's got a lot of detail. I like that. And very much looks like a one-handed weapon, doesn't it? And we'll finish up with maces. Honestly, there's not that many maces that really fit the bill. Most of them are really big and gargantuan like this one. But something like that, or these. This one almost doesn't even look like much of a mace. That's kind of funky. Lara's Rib Smasher. If you have some ribs to smash. Let's see what else. Looks more like a caster weapon, but it works. This is a very small looking mace. No, it's not too big. But I think you get the idea. You know, take a look at these weapons if you're looking for a smaller look, like that. How does that look like a two-handed weapon? It's not something an arms warrior would probably want to use. However, a fury warrior might fit the bill on that one. That's kind of funky. So I think those are all of the maces and swords and axes I was really wanting to show you. So that pretty much concludes my guide. I mean, you can go through all these on your own, find something that looks good. I think I might change from these swords, try something new. Alright, well, hope y'all like that. Gives you some ideas for some different transmogs.
See ya.